Okay. I think I say yay at the beginning of every one of my episodes, but yay, welcome back. Today I'm with my friend and mastermind buddy, Roxi Robinson. And Roxy and I met in Ryan Gillen's world. Roxy, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here.
Yay! I love
Yeah.
yays too.
Yeah. It's just exciting. And so you're in Louisiana, right?
Yes, I am, and it is
Okay,
hot.
cool. Oh yeah, I bet. Like what hot? How hot? I'm just curious.
Like in the 90s, but it's humid
Yeah.
hot. You have to be here to understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, because 'cause we're hot. We got up to, like, 105 in Missouri yesterday, but it's, like, it wasn't too humid, so it was fine. Great pool day, so yay, and I don't even know where we're gonna go today, but I have a few places to start. So, I wanna start with Roxy, you run do you call it personal training or coaching business? Like, tell us a little bit more about your business and what you do.
Yeah, so I call it, I guess, online coaching. But basically, I like to say that I help women build because when
Mm,
we think about changing our bodies, it's a lot about what we want to lose. And, we want to lose weight, we want to
mhm,
lose inches. But if I've found that the approach of trying to build mindset, muscle, and metabolism are really what I focus on in my
mhm.
coaching because I want the changes to be sustainable. And I really think that those are the three components that you really have to have in place for the change to last. And I don't think all coaches are going to say this, but I like for it to be low effort.
I like that,
Surprise.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want it to be as low effort as possible. I've said before in the past that, like, when it comes to health and fitness, I'm a C student.
Mm,
It
that's hilarious.
probably shouldn't open with that because you're like, I don't know if I want my coach to be a C student, but in reality, like, I think that C students are strategic. So, like, it's not just about doing everything that's out there. It's about doing what works and only doing as much of it as you have to
Mhm,
on days because we can't function the same every day. We can't show up the same every day, even though there are plenty of, like, mindset quotes out there on Pinterest and Instagram, and it's like, I really dislike the one that's like, "Forget your mood," like, "Follow the
oh, yeah.
plan, not your mood," and it's like, okay, but at what point how
Right,
long can you do that? And, like, what is
right.
my mood telling me about what's going on with my body right now and my life? And so I just think there's a lot of oversimplification out there
Yeah.
that makes people feel when you're trying to become healthy and change the way your body looks and the way your life feels, it's almost like you could feel like an outsider if
Yeah,
you're just scrolling through, like, what health and fitness looks like right now.
right. Because
So,
if that
that's a little
worked,
bit.
nobody would have a problem.
Yes,
I don't know
yes,
if have a problem
and
is the wrong way to look at it, but
right, but yeah, they wouldn't be trying to fix something for sure.
right.
And, it's funny because, like, even in therapy one day, and I consider my therapist a genius. I was in therapy with my husband, and we were talking about him not exercising, and she was like and we could talk about that too in a minute, but anyways, uh we were talking about him not exercising, and she made the comment that, like, he doesn't love exercising like you, and I was like, time out. That's a misconception. I do not love exercising. I've had
Mhm.
to find a way to love things about myself when I exercise. I
Mm,
enjoy exercise some days I don't enjoy it. Some days I do it out
yeah,
of devotion, some days I do it out of discipline, and some days I don't do it at all.
yeah,
Um, because I did not want to, and I could not make myself do it, and I could not make myself do one more thing that day that I didn't wanna do,
mm,
and it's really important for women to understand that it's not that one day, it's the story you tell about it that changes what tomorrow's gonna be and how you show up tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that.
what do you mean by that?
So, yeah.
By the story?
I mean, like, we get in this cycle where, maybe I missed a workout or maybe I ate a donut. And the one missed workout or the one donut is not what lands you in this place where you're 40 pounds overweight, you're in the highest jean size that you've ever worn, and you're hiding in every photo. Like,
Mhm.
it's what happened after the donut. And what happened after the donut came from the story that you told about it. So, like, I ate this donut and I'm just fat and lazy.
Mhm.
I ate this donut and I do this every time. Nothing's changing. Or I miss this workout because I'm not like those girls that exercise. I'm lazy. I'm not disciplined. I don't have any willpower. It's like, what's the story that you're telling about it? And in reality, I was exhausted yesterday because I gave to everybody but myself.
I
And I
see.
needed a break, I needed a
Yeah.
break. And so, like, if I was exhausted, then I can do something about that. I can rest well tonight. I can fuel myself tomorrow and I can say, let's give it another go. Let's do something that feels good.
Yeah.
And then we'll grow from there.
Oh,
Um,
that's
but
cool.
yeah, so those are sort of that's the mindset piece to it. What's the story
Mhm.
that we're telling? And everybody that I work with wants to jump straight to like the muscle metabolism. Give me an exercise program. And it's like, can we just stop for a minute and talk about why you're stuck in this cycle and what are you telling yourself and why are you self
Right.
sabotaging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, and I think that's what's so cool about I always come back to it being cool because it's the Cool People podcast, but what I see that's really special about you and your approach is it isn't just the action, it's the mindset, it's the identity, it's the self-love, and there's another piece I'd love to hear you talk about. I just saw this in your content of I love your content, by the way. What did you
Oh,
say?
thank you.
It's not creating a healthy lifestyle is not about rules, it's about principles.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you tell me
Love
about that?
that.
Like, I saw that and I feel like I got it, but, like, I knew that you'd be able to go deeper with us chatting about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So, like, sometimes I feel like an imposter or a fraud as a coach because I'm coaching from a place of lived experience, not just theory that says this is what works and this is how we're supposed to do it. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
trial and error there. And I actually hold my tongue a lot because I
Mm,
know there is a piece of trial and error. And I don't speak so firmly about certain things because I think I have not exhausted all options on this topic.
mm,
Let me hold back. Um, but back to what I mean by that is I'm understanding that a lot of women are trying to discipline themselves into a body.
mm,
But if we can understand that it's more about devotion to an identity, then from that place, you function from principles. And principles are the things that we value. They're in our core being. We
mhm,
own these things. As opposed to the other side, which is more like you got to be disciplined. You have to hold yourself to this one size standard every day. And if you don't reach it, if you don't have the willpower, then you fail. And that's a rule. And like rules are why we're probably here. We're either breaking them or we're trying to meet them all and we're self-sabotaging. And
right,
rules are like what other people tell you have to do. So that's sort of the living it out piece from the
mhm,
inside. But then on the outside with actions, like I want my women to understand why they're doing something instead of just follow a rule. So when
yeah.
I coach them on like muscle and mindset, I really want them to understand the principles behind what we're doing and not just be following some rule that I threw out.
What's an example of a principle versus a rule?
So, a principle is lifting heavy helps build muscle.
Mm,
A rule is I have to work out 4 days a week to make progress.
okay.
So, like, I can value lifting heavy.
Mhm,
I can find my way into the gym and understand what builds muscle so I know why I'm doing what I'm doing without just saying, I have to live 4 days a week because that are where we get caught up in the all or nothing thinking. And that's
Mhm.
the biggest place I see women fail. It's like I
Okay.
didn't do whatever rule it was. I didn't follow it for this many days. And so I might as well quit.
Hmm.
And, they don't live in enough gray area.
Right. I see that. I could
Yeah.
see how yeah, I can just see how that it creates the space for somebody to say, "Okay, today," like, really listen to themselves versus following this, like, extrinsic data set that they checklist.
Yeah. So like a principle is like I value working out because of the way it makes me feel versus I have to do cardio because I ate,
Mm,
a hamburger yesterday and I have to burn it off.
right. Right.
You
That
know.
makes sense.
So those are the ideas that we're exploring, and it's really about, in my coaching, taking ownership
Mhm.
of a new identity so that it becomes a lifestyle instead of just rules I follow. And when I break them, I tell a story about who I am now, and everything crumbles.
Yeah, I that's what I love too. You really shifted. I was just thinking about health and wellness in general and watching your content. For me, you saying it's not about losing 10 pounds by June or by July or some date. It's about creating a new identity where this is who you are and it's a lifestyle. It's not just like a quick fix and then go back to the old way. And in that case, that's where I love your whole thing of like you can still have a donut, you can have a glass of wine, you can do this, but it's not that's the shift, right? I don't know if I'm speaking to that well
Yes.
enough, but can you
No,
explain
yeah,
that?
that's true. Um, yeah. So, like, if we try to, let me see how to put this. If we try to follow a set of rules, like, well, let me back that up even more. As Abraham says, let's start again.
Yeah.
Let's start again.
Yes.
When we don't understand weight loss and weight gain, we're just following a set of rules blindly.
Mhm.
And we think we have to cut carbs. We think that sugar makes us fat. We think we have to earn our food through exercise. But when you really understand, like, that you've got 3 macronutrients. These are the things you should get the most
Mhm.
of: fats, proteins, carbs. When you
Mhm.
understand that fat grams have double the calories of carb and protein grams, then you're going to be able to make some informed decisions about, when you do eat a donut, what should the rest of the day look like to meet the
Mm.
goal that I want to meet. Or
Yeah.
you've got some mindset practices in place where you go, I had the donut, I blew the whole day, but guess what? That doesn't mean I have to blow tomorrow too.
Right.
And if I blow today and tomorrow, guess what? I don't have to do it again. It's
Right.
about the story that I'm telling.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you can have wine if you understand that it's not just because you drank a glass of wine or you ate a piece of cake, and we like to say it went straight to my hips. Well, it
Right.
didn't.
Right.
It didn't go straight to your hips. It's about your intake, and a lot of women, well, people in general, underestimate their calorie
Mhm.
intake by a huge amount.
I've heard that.
So the work I do begins with becoming
Mhm.
aware of what we're eating and how we're feeling when we're eating it and what we're telling ourselves after we eat it.
Right.
And then we build out from there.
I love that. And it feels so much better. It kind of reminds me of, in like the financial world, there's people who are like shame based. Like I do like some of the principles that people like Susie Orman and what's his name? Dave Ramsey say, but there's like an energy of shame that at least that's how I interpret it. And it's like if that would be removed, they would be so much more effective. That I feel like that's what I'm hearing from you is I've been around a lot of coaches and nutrition people and personal trainers and the gamut, and I noticed that a lot of the industry is shame based or like not good enough based, and what you're talking about, it comes from a space of love and devotion and like not shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, shame is what keeps us in that spiral.
Mhm.
Shame and fear. And what I love to hear from my ladies, like on our coaching
Yeah.
calls when we share wins, it's like, I did this thing,
Mhm.
but this time it meant this. Because that would have
Oh,
been the place where in the past they quit.
yes.
I only got 2 workouts in this week, even though I was trying to get 5, but I know what caused it. I know how I feel about it, and I know what I wanna do about it next week,
Yes.
and that changes the entire game,
Yeah.
and because you have to ask yourself, like, whose timeline are you on here?
Right.
This is about changing your identity. It's going to take time. It's going to take trial and error. It's going to take practice is a big thing
Mhm.
that we talk about.
Mhm.
We're practicing these habits. We
Right.
act our way into becoming and new
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big difference from shame. And I really have thought about it in a way like with a Christian background that I had or have. What do they say about grace? Like, if you believe you have grace, then isn't that going to cause people to sin more because they
Hmm.
have grace? And it's like, no, the fact that grace exists is actually why they're not going to stay there.
Right.
And that's how I approach my coaching.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a deep
Yeah.
insight. So that's what I mean. This isn't surface level, like lose some weight, gain some muscle. Like it's the whole person. Okay.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
tried for so long to lose weight and it didn't work.
That's
And when it
exactly where I was going to
finally,
go.
yeah, when it
Uh,
finally worked, I was like, okay, if you're going to coach this, you have to figure out why it worked. And
yeah.
you've got to like, and it's not just because you started doing these things, because you've always tried these things.
Hmm.
Yeah, for as long as I can remember. But yeah, we can go with that.
Yeah.
Ask away.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, what motivated you to, first off, to focus on, I don't even, like, can you tell us your journey? Like, where were you? What was your rock bottom? What changed?
Yeah. So I did not struggle with weight really as a child or um in school because I was an athlete.
Mhm.
And when I say athlete, I mean like I was in 4 different sports at one time,
Oh my gosh.
coping as a child from
Yeah.
trauma that I didn't
Yeah.
understand. But, I was on the basketball team and the softball team and the track team or cross country
Wow.
team. And then also like travel ball, just anything I
Yeah.
could do to not feel my feelings. But that's not
Hmm.
where we're going here. But it kept me thin
Yeah.
and I could eat whatever I wanted to eat. And I was moving a lot, so I was hungry. So I didn't really have there were no great patterns established. It
Hmm.
was hungry, eat. And it wasn't until college that I started to gain weight.
Mm.
And college just stressed me out so much because I didn't believe that I belonged there.
Hmm.
Um, like I was even in a freshman orientation and the professor says, look to the person on your left. Now look to the person on your right. In 4 years, only one of you will be here.
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
looking at these people, yes. And I'm like, they're pretty smart. Like, obviously it's going to be me I'm not going to
Mm.
be here. And that was how college got started. So to say I was stressed was to say
Yeah.
the least.
Yeah.
And I would belly up to the pizza bar, Johnny's Pizza at lunch. We got a discount as a
Mhm.
college student, and that's where I
Yeah.
went every day for stress relief. And I just ate and ate and ate, and I gained so much weight that I was with my ex-husband's family, and a woman turned around and she said to me, "You're unrecognizable." And, normally that's like a good thing somebody says.
Yeah.
"I haven't seen you in so long, you're unrecognizable."
Oh my
But it was just
gosh.
that it felt like somebody just like blew into me and I was just
Yeah.
swollen, like my whole body just
Hmm.
grew in size. And so I struggled with that throughout. I started teaching. And if you know anything about teaching, like it's stressful. You've got a
Yes.
very short time period to eat. And the cafeteria food is in some schools delicious and super high calorie. So I gained
Yes.
even more weight there. So like
Mhm.
freshman 15, and then you're teaching 15, and double that for me. I'm like 60 pounds heavier than I am right now.
Mhm.
And I tried so many things. Uh, and I think it's important that we name the things that we've tried because there are health and fitness leaders out there or influencers out
Mhm.
there that have never struggled with being overweight.
Mm.
And this comes naturally to them. And I just want to
Right.
stress how unnatural all of this was for me in the beginning
That's
and
so
what a
that's
struggle, yeah, that it was for me physically and
Mhm.
mentally. But like there were these things called HCG drops that you put under
Mm.
your tongue, and you eat a 500-calorie diet for 40 days max. And you can't exercise, which I thought was a perfect diet because you're borderline protein deficient.
Right.
And I did these over and over again, and I would lose 30 pounds, and then I would gain 35 back. And then I would
Mm.
lose 35, I'd gain 40 back. And what else? Oh my gosh, the alley pills that block
I remember
fat,
this.
and then
Yes. I remember seeing this.
yeah. Is it I
Yeah.
even tried like Oprah had somebody on once that was hypnotizing you, and so I had to imagine a french fry, that was my favorite food, and then you had to imagine something disgusting happening to it. My
Aw.
most disgusting, yes, imagination was like wrapping it in a piece of hair. Like somebody, if you find hair
Yeah.
in your food, that is my major ick. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to like hypnotize myself to
Yeah.
not like french fries. It's crazy, bizarre.
Did it work?
It
Just curious.
temporarily,
Okay.
yes, temporarily. Like I
Yeah.
can I can still think of that right now and kind of be like, "Ugh, I wouldn't really like a french fry right now." But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it
Right.
it all worked
Yeah.
temporarily. Cutting carbs. I was vegan. Did an all carb diet before
I
where
remember you
you're
saying that on Ryan's podcast.
yeah, I forgot that I said that. But yeah. So I've done all of these things, and then I met my now husband, and I'm coming to rock bottom here. Uh or this is not rock bottom. But it should be, but it was not.
Mhm.
Okay. If you've ever heard somebody tell their story, like
Yeah.
it really has to get bad. My husband comes from an athletic family. Their names are on universities
Mm.
in Hall of Fames. And, he's the 6'2" beautiful, dark, tall, handsome, fit man who plays tennis. And I like brought cereal into the house for the first time. He was like, "You
Hmm.
eat cereal? You eat cereal for dinner?" Like,
Yeah.
and I would
Mm.
shame eat around
Mhm.
him. And once we were at the Waffle House, and he was just disgusted about like
Mm.
being in the Waffle House. And I am
Yeah.
looking back on that now, and I was just so elated to be there and eating waffles. And this was my safe place. It made me feel so good to
Mhm.
eat this food. And then afterwards, though, I felt horrible about myself. And so I
Yeah.
tried working with a personal trainer. And, one morning, my husband tapped me on the back side to get up, and he was like, "Fin to win." And it hurt my feelings so bad, like to
Yeah.
my core. And I sort of had this, like this I can do this revenge type deal.
Mhm.
Thin to win is about cutting a deck of cards, but
Yeah.
he was also saying, get thinner.
Yeah.
And but what I ended up
Mm.
doing actually was when I saw my doctor to get Adipex, he recommended a local person. It's about to get crazy, that will handle a consult for you to go to Tijuana and have bariatric surgery. And you had to go to Tijuana because I did not qualify for it. I was not overweight enough for that
Hmm.
surgery. And I
Wow.
went anyways.
Yeah.
Yes. And basically had part of my stomach cut out because I was so desperate to be thin.
Mm.
And my first meal, whenever I could eat, was a chocolate frosty at
Hmm.
Wendy's. Like nothing was changing for
Right.
me.
Right.
And like 2 years after that surgery, that happened in about 2018, I had gained all the weight back, of
Mhm.
course. That's what research shows happens to
Right.
most people. Even with the surgery, the stomach stretches. You don't change your patterns and nothing changes.
Yeah.
Um, then my brother passed away from suicide in 2020.
Mm,
And I
I'm
was like,
sorry.
that's when yeah, thank you. But that's when I really hit my rock bottom. And I thought, if I don't do something with myself right now, like, I'm so miserable that I've
Mhm.
gotta do something different. And
Yeah.
that's where a lot of us change. A lot of us
Right.
are forced to change out of, disease or death or
Mhm.
something traumatic. I like to catch women before that,
Right.
but that's where I was. And so I started seeing a grief therapist, and then at that time I found, like, an online coach. So, like I
Hmm.
said, this is all very lived experience.
Yes.
I was coached for, uh, a long time, but in this coaching, they did teach you how to, like, understand macros and calories, but there was no building. It was all just weight loss. It was eat less to lose
Mhm.
weight. And if
Yeah.
you messed up, you would stall or you would gain, and then you just have to will yourself back into getting on track and stay disciplined and find a way to be motivated and just eat less.
Yeah.
And then in 2021, after I was gaining weight back again, I saw my coach in the gym and I said, I want to look like you. I want to look like you. And she was like, well, that's good because I'm starting a coaching program and I can take you on.
That's
And I
awesome.
was like, well, thank you. And so this is where I really learned about the building piece. She was a bodybuilder. And over the next 3 years, like, I worked through a few, like, building my metabolism and building my muscle and then doing a couple of cuts until eventually I was like, I want to do a show. And so in 2024, I did my first bodybuilding
Oh, I
competition.
love that.
Yes, thank you. I got second place and first place in my division, but there was only one person in that division because they do it based on height. But
Mm.
either way, I
Hey,
got it.
you did it.
I
That's
did it, and
awesome.
it was a great experience, and and this is where I started coaching, and I was like, "But I did this because I was disciplined enough. I knew what I needed. I knew exactly what to do now. I knew
Mhm.
how to lose weight and eat more. That's
Yep.
important because you can't just lose weight by eating less for a long
Yep.
period of time. You got to learn
Right.
how to restore your metabolism. So we did that work. And then I learned how to build muscle, did that work. But there was an identity shift that was happening when I started calling myself a bodybuilder. And I was like,
Ah.
wait a second. And it,
Yeah.
it wasn't built into the program, it just happened. And I
Yeah.
started calling myself a bodybuilder and I started doing things that bodybuilders
Yeah.
do. And looking back on it, it's like I was able to take pieces from all of these experiences and say, now let me take my teaching background that I have
Yes.
and put this into an experience for women that's based around the 5 principles that I know create change,
Mhm.
lasting change, and start coaching them. And so that's how I
I
built
love
my program.
I love that. And I wanna go back to what you said earlier about how long have you been in business? When did you start your business?
I started in 24
Okay.
after my first competition.
Okay.
So it's been about 2 years now.
Okay. So you're not newbie, but you're still new enough that and you're doing great, by the way. I love watching you grow. But the thing I
Thank you.
see most with new female business owners, and actually, no, I'm going to qualify this to female business owners in general, is that so men are socialized that if they want to do something, they just go do it. And then they figure it out along the way. Women are socialized, and I'm way generalizing, but we're socialized like if we're going to do it, we have to become masters first and then we can go do it. And
Right.
I even want to pull gender out of that because Jeremy's starting his Pokemon business and now I'm watching him go through some mindset stuff. And it's like really, I'm like, oh, it's not all guys. Like guys have feelings too. But my main point is removing the gender piece. It's centering ourselves into wait a second, I'm actually not new at this stuff. And actually, there are like you doing this through lived experience qualifies you in a different way than somebody who hasn't been challenged, right? And there's a place for everybody in industries, but that imposter syndrome, when we really go into it and say, okay, where do I not feel good enough? Then if we really start examining the evidence, it's usually not true. Or if it's true, like that's one way I've built my business is like, well, where do I feel like I'm not good enough? And that's where I learn. But for you in this case, it's I've been watching you and you're like, well, I don't have a system. I don't have, it's like, no, you do. It's right here. It's just imposter syndrome feels so real, especially when we're earlier on. So I just wanted to point that out to you because I think a lot of
Thank
people are going to
you.
relate to that of like, I've had people
Yes.
come to me that have been working on something for 20 years and like, but I'm new. And I'm like, you're not new. We're not new. And
Yes.
honestly,
Yes.
when we're a few years into the journey, I actually think that's the best time to serve because once you get into it long enough, it becomes your norm. And then, but when we've
Hmm.
just figured something out and we teach it, that's the most potent time to teach it. So, so
Yes. Yeah.
tell me this, because I know from listening to you and like our conversations and just like in the different places we've connected or I've listened to you, you talk about it really isn't about the weight, or maybe it is. Is it both, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, who knows what I was talking about whenever I said that, but like it isn't about, it isn't about the weight. Like, is it about losing the weight or it isn't about
Or it's like it's not
the,
just about losing weight or hitting a goal that this work is I want to side note there though. It is about the weight too. But what else is the journey and the transformation about besides just the weight?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like we use weight to measure our success.
Mhm.
And that's a whole nother piece of, tangent that I could go on.
Let's come
But
back to that.
yeah, we'll come back to that. But, you know, when you are changing your identity, the body is going to follow. And so if
Mhm.
you're obsessed about the weight, then you're obsessed about the output. I want you to become obsessed about the input. I want you to become obsessed with yourself because so many women do not take care of themselves. They feel guilty, they overgive
Mm.
to everybody, and then they feel guilty for taking care of themselves, for putting aside some time for themselves. And
Right.
it's like, I have to say, you are worth this. And every time I look into somebody else's face and say, you are worth this, like I'm saying that right back to myself.
Yeah.
Like, you are worth this. You're worth this effort. You're worth more than your weight. Right.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's about so much more than losing weight. It's about building back to how I started. It's about
Yeah.
building an identity, um, a, a version of yourself that you love, that
Yeah.
you want to practice taking care of, that you want to become devoted to, instead of a part of you that you hate and you have to discipline it into change by
Yeah.
following rules that somebody else gave you.
Yes.
So yeah, it is
Wow.
about more than the weight.
Yeah.
The weight can come off. It has come off. Like I say this sometimes, losing weight isn't the hardest part. Keeping the weight off is the hardest part. And if you
Mm,
didn't lose it in a sustainable way, you're not going to be able to sustain the result.
that makes so much sense. That's yeah. And I feel like that's kind of one of the key places of does it actually work or not? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
I'm interested. I don't have the question formed, but it's like we're as I guess men too, but women in our society, it's like we're supposed to be body positive and we're supposed to like or and that, but then also do you see what I'm saying? Like I feel like weight loss gets a taboo, but then I feel like there's like two sides of the pendulum of people who are fat phobic and then people who are like losing like so I lost 20 pounds this year. And it has been a lot of lifestyle change. Like I had to fall in love with like cooking and like it's a lot of the things that we're talking about. And I told a friend,
Mhm.
I was like, I lost 20 pounds. And she was like, oh, no, like you should have loved yourself the way you were. And I was so surprised because to me, I just wasn't feeling good about I didn't feel good in my body and I didn't have the same energy. And I just knew it was a part of this. It was a side tangent of this bigger identity work I'm working on. And I was really surprised to get that feedback because I wasn't being fat phobic or I wasn't saying like I hated myself before, but it was just a very interesting thing to get back. And so I'm curious, I don't have the question, but do you see where I'm going of like there's these competing messages, but I think both are wrong in some way. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts
Yeah.
around that?
Well, my thoughts are that people should keep their mouths shut more often than they open it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my thought. My second thought is something that when I was just writing down a lot of things, like there are so many competing ideas about
Mhm.
body positivity versus losing weight for health. Like I watched this whole series with Jillian Michaels and she
Mhm.
was doing, some like arguments with some of the people on the other side that were like body positivity, and she was trying to show them how
Mhm.
it's just messaging made to keep them unhealthy by big
Mhm.
pharma and just different things. And I think, you know what, it's about what a person makes it about.
That's true.
So if you
That's true.
feel good being heavier, then you feel good, and that's good.
Right.
If you feel good and about losing 20 pounds, then you lose the 20 pounds because you feel better when you do it. So it's like
Yes.
everybody has to find their own why and their
Mhm.
what.
Right.
And that's another thing that I talk about with my ladies. Like, if we're changing this identity, we got to know what we want as this person so that we can
Yes.
start pursuing that. But we don't
Yeah.
have to be told what we want. You don't have to want to love your body the way it is if you don't.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
then decide what it is you want and then go after it and love it when you get there.
Right. And along the
But you
way,
don't
and
have to change it.
yeah,
Yes. Along the
that's
way.
it.
Yes.
Mine was I just wasn't happy with how I felt and now that I'm at the place that I wanna be and it's, like, fun and I don't know, and again, I think what I'm hearing you say is it's a reclaiming of who we are and who we want to be versus being everybody else prescribing what's right and wrong and good and bad.
And
Yeah.
that's where we go back to principles and rules,
Yeah.
which I think goes back to devotion and discipline.
Mhm.
And, and what does this other person have to gain by what they're trying to feed you
Mhm.
and tell you is also
Right.
something to look
Right.
at.
True.
But
I
yeah,
think it was
yeah.
more of a projection of I don't think it had anything to do with me. I think they were having their own body image stuff and but I have just to share too, when I gained 20 pounds a few years ago, I didn't notice and people would say the weirdest shit to me. It was like so rude. Like I don't even know how to like it's just so interesting with weight and women and yeah, I don't know, just the whole thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I experienced that like in my own relationship with my husband. And and I'll be honest, I've said this before in a recorded something on
Mhm.
TikTok, but like
Mhm.
I started from a place of I wanted to lose weight to be loved. I wanted to lose
Mm,
weight to be respected in my relationship, to have more power and control in my relationship.
yeah.
But in that journey, what happened was I did lose weight, but I started to do it because I felt better. I liked myself better.
Mhm.
I liked me when I kept promises to myself more than when I
Yes.
broke them.
Yes. Yes. I'm
And
definitely
so,
seeing that.
yeah,
Yeah. Go
so
ahead.
it can start from different places. It can start
Right.
from different conversations. It can start for everybody in a different
Mhm.
place. But like, just make sure you're going where you want to go.
Right. Oh, I love that. What did you say earlier that I wrote down? I wrote it somewhere. What were we talking about? Oh, I just
You're
wrote
the
weight.
intuitive here. I cannot read your paper.
So funny. I wrote down weight, but you were saying using weight as the only success metric.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Weight as the only success metric is what really keeps women from building and focused on losing.
Mm,
Because, like, all right, if you're going to be able to eat more, you're going to have to stoke the fire of your metabolism. You're going to have to add things to build the fire. And
mhm,
that's food. You're going to have to add food to build the fire. Okay. And once we start building our metabolism, we're going to use the food, the calorie intake to build muscle because muscle is the organ of longevity. It is going to help you fight disease. It's going to help you live longer. It's going to help you process insulin. It's going to help you be strong, pick your kids up, get your groceries out of the
mm,
car. It's going to do all things. It's also going to
yeah,
make you look like a badass.
yeah.
Okay. It's gonna give you the
Yeah,
curve that everybody thinks
yeah,
is coming from something else. But if you're only focused on losing weight, then you're gonna miss the fact that muscle weighs on the
mhm,
scale, okay? It's going to show, if you're building muscle, it's going to show up on the scale.
yeah,
So, long story short, if you're in this journey, you've got to measure your progress by more than just what's on the scale, the weight on the scale. You need to be taking some pictures,
mhm,
um, use the same clothes, kind of stand in the same position, same lighting so that you can see the change because you're looking
yes,
at yourself every day in the mirror and you're not going to see it. But what we want to see is that our body shape is changing, that our
mhm,
legs are getting tighter, our arms, our shoulders are looking more tight.
mhm,
And that's not going to show up on the scale when you're building muscle. And even if you're losing fat and gaining muscle, the scale could be staying the same, and that's going to confuse so many women.
yes,
Another piece is taking your measurements. Take your
mhm,
waist measurement. If the weight is staying the same on the scale and your waist is going down, that's a big indicator that you're losing fat.
mhm,
And that's what we want to do. We don't just want to lose weight. We want to
right,
lose fat. We want to be
right,
strategic about what we're losing. And
mhm,
that's another part of the work that I do with women. We preserve our muscle mass
right,
as we are losing weight. Um, and then what else? Okay. And then lastly, like another indicator is what are you doing on a daily basis before it has time to show up on the scale? What are I call them non-scale victories? What did you feel
mhm,
good about this week that you did? How much did you increase your sleep? What is your
mhm,
energy like? These are the
yeah,
first things that women start to share as wins when they start this
mhm,
work with me.
I love that. Yeah, that's what I'm because in general, just with, like, improving health, like, this morning I was juicing apples and just thinking about all of the nutrients that are going into my body, and, like, there's so much it's so much more than just one indicator. I love that.
Yes, yes, it
You've said
is.
too,
Actually, I was
like
on a
okay,
coaching. Oh,
you go. You go.
well, I was on a coaching call this morning with my clients, and we've been in this series on nutrition. And like, I don't know if anybody's seen the Chick-fil-A sign that says like how to know if a person needs encouragement, and then it says they're
No.
alive. And yeah,
Aw,
at a sign at
that's cute.
Chick-fil-A, I eat a lot of Chick-fil-A. But I used that to say, okay, here's now we need to put this one in our memory. If you're alive, you are worth nourishing.
Aw,
If you're alive, you're worth nourishing. And we just don't look at our bodies that way. We're always looking at what we need to take away from ourselves
yeah,
and not what we need to put in to make ourselves feel good because we're
yeah.
worthy.
Aw, I love that. It's interesting you say that too. I eat a lot of Chick-fil-A too. What's your order?
I love a good regular chicken nugget,
Yeah,
but sometimes I've had some other stuff during the day, so I got to get the grilled. But when I get
yeah,
the grilled, definitely need pickles and zesty buffalo sauce. That's
I
my
love that.
go-to on the side salad.
Nice. Yeah, I do the, Chick-fil-A sauce with the grilled chicken sandwich. It's like my if I need a pick me up, that's my like, if I'm like, I just need something to ground. But,
Yeah.
side tangent.
Yeah, like
I love that. Oh, go ahead.
if I just want something to feel
Mhm.
good, food is pleasurable.
Mhm.
It's okay
Yes.
to like food. I love food.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to stop eating donuts. If you told me that I could never have another slice of pizza, I would act like some alcoholic. Like, okay, I'm going to have to take it day by day, one day at a time, one moment at a time. Like, I would get super
Yes.
depressed.
Yeah.
But so, like, when you understand, though, when you understand the principles, you can
Right.
still have the pizza and you can still
Right.
reach your goals.
Right. Oh, I love that. But it's interesting you brought up the encouragement and nourishment because in my own journey, what I'm noticing is I'm healing a pattern of self neglect
Mm.
that comes from our society. That it's another way of saying what you were saying earlier. If we give to everyone else before ourselves, and seeing the little ways that that shows up. And I realized that when it came to anything my kids needed and my clients needed or family needed, I figured it out. But myself, I just kept putting myself on the back shelf or whatever. And it's been interesting to see just the little ways that shows up every day and that weight or food or, you know, working, finding the time to work out. That was just a manifestation of that larger pattern I was living in. I don't know your thoughts on that.
I think that it's definitely a real thing that women struggle
Mhm.
with. I
Mhm.
think that I consistently have to tell them that you cannot give from an empty cup. Like
Yeah,
you
like
you
literally.
can't continue. You can't
Mhm.
continue to give from an empty cup. Like you have to refill.
Yeah.
And we talk about like are you doing things that are just relieving steam? Like are you
Mm.
letting off steam or are you actually refilling your pot? Because if you
Ooh.
think about a pot on a burner and and it's a steamer and all the steam is coming out, when you run out of water, what's going to happen to the pot? The
Ooh.
bottom of it is going to burn.
Yeah,
We call that burnout because
right.
you've been running around doing things to let off steam, but you're not doing things to purposefully refill yourself. And we have a
Wow.
lot of conversation about what that looks like in our lives. And what do
Yeah.
we do to burn off steam versus what do we do to refill so that we have something to give and we don't burn ourselves out? But
Mm.
it goes back to, you know, narratives and stories that we tell and patterns in our lives and big
Mhm.
T, little t trauma.
Right.
And it tells us a lot about how we engage with food. Like, you know, some of the things we've been talking about in this nutrition um, coaching session has been like when you reach for food outside of hunger, what's coming up for you?
Mm.
Like, let's just start there. It's real simple.
Mhm.
And instead of denying it, like, let's just say what it is.
Yeah.
I reached for 6 Oreos because I was feeling really sad or I was feeling really scared or I was exhausted. And before I could even think about it, because 80% of what we do on autopilot, I
Right.
wasn't even thinking and I just reached for the Oreos.
Mhm.
So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
there's so many layers to
Yes.
our health and fitness, and we think that we can oversimplify it in just be more disciplined to eat less and move
Mhm.
more, and that's a joke.
Yeah. There's so much more to it. Do you have a hard stop at 12?
No.
Or it might be 1 your time. Okay. Um, where did I go with that? There's something I was gonna ask you. Well, I think that's also why it's helpful to have accountability. And I used to think accountability was kind of silly because I'm a very intrinsically driven person. But when we're actually making change, first off, come back to self neglect. I don't have to have it, but it's nice to have accountability, right? It keeps us on track. I don't think it's just accountability that coaching, like that benefits coaching, but it just makes it easier when you're not in it alone.
Oh, 1000%. You know, most people that come to me, it's they either don't know what to do or they do know what to do and they just can't do it consistently, or it's
Hmm.
a combination of both.
Yeah.
And it's more often a combination of both because they think they know what to do, but they don't, and they're
Right.
making it harder than it has to be, and they're trying to change too many things at once, and that's why they
Hmm.
keep starting and stopping. So it feels good to have accountability, one, to get some feedback, to get
True.
feedback on your thinking
Hmm.
and on your consistency.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And then also the accountability of like knowing that you have someone guiding you that can help you see past your own bullshit
Yeah.
and go, okay, were you really tired or are you just giving up on yourself? And it's not like my follow up statement isn't going to be, so get in there and do it next week. It's going to be, why? But
Mhm.
why? Because that's
Yeah.
what we need to address is the why. It's not the action, it's the why behind it.
Mm.
If you get up every day and you don't feel like working out, we got to talk about why you don't feel like
Right.
working out. Because I can, you know, try and motivate you to do it. And you might do it because you got to tell me you didn't do it
Right.
at the end of the week. But for how long is that going to last? And is it
Right.
really changing anything?
Right.
So, yes,
That's
accountability to help you keep showing up, to help you to reinforce that you're on the right track because we get into a diet and the first thing we start wondering, like our brain starts going, this isn't really working. Is this really working?
Mhm.
Is
Right.
this working fast enough? And when you're trying to change and you're trying to assess how well you're doing at the change, it's mentally exhausting. And
Yeah.
willpower is an exhaustible resource. And if you're using it to make all of the decisions, now you're flying at half mast.
And it's like a decision fatigue versus somebody saying, "Okay, here's where we're going." I love that.
Here's where we're going. Yeah. And you're practicing
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
And what better way to practice being than with someone who already is that
Yes.
person?
Yes. Oh, I love that. I wanna shift gears a little bit. So 2 years in, what's the most surprising thing for you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a coach?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right. The most surprising thing is that entrepreneurship, and I mean, this isn't surprising, but it surprised me. It is a self discovery, self worth. How much do I value myself? Look in the mirror every day that I show up to do it.
Yep.
Every single day in every single way. And I was just
Mhm.
like, wow. I thought I confronted a lot of things with like my body, and now the journey continues.
Yes. I love that. Let me close my door
Yeah.
really quick. My kids just came downstairs. They've been sleeping till like noon. Teenagers are funny.
Oh, that's
And
so
I'm letting
fun.
them because 'cause they're not gonna be able to forever, you know? But,
No, they're
let
not.
me get situated. I'll cut this part out. Yeah. So I have people ask me why I left doing healing work.
Oh.
So I used to be a therapist and an intuitive coach, and I still do coaching here and there. Like I have limited spots, but I'm like, I didn't leave healing work. Like running a business is a portal for self growth. And every time we grow, it's going to bring up new opportunities for us to look at ourselves. And that's actually part of the medicine of the Cool People podcast is everybody that comes on here, it triggers some kind of inner self thing, whether it's visibility or like for me, honestly, right now, my big thing is I fell last year and my lip still has a scar tissue that I want to get removed. And like most people don't see it, but I do. And then I'm on a video and like super insecure about it. Right. Or not feeling cool. I had somebody say they didn't feel cool enough to be here or not knowing what to say. Or so every facet of business is a portal for self-discovery and growth, and it doesn't end. But we get to build a relationship with it and a relationship with that growth journey, and it doesn't have to be it's kind of like losing weight, right? Like, it doesn't have to be this hellish thing where we beat ourselves up. We can actually confront each opportunity with grace and with love. So,
That is
yeah.
so true. And,
Mhm.
you could probably name the things that business shows about yourself. And I would put a finger down if
Yeah.
business has shown you this, like
Yeah.
I would be all the way down.
Yeah.
Um, I've noticed for sure that like being seen is really hard for me.
Mhm.
Um, because being judged is super hard for me
Yeah.
because feeling not good enough is the hardest part for me.
Mm.
And I cope with that through like trying to be performative. And it's so against my value system that starting coaching where I know I can't talk about something if it doesn't feel authentic. I
Right.
cannot do it. I
Right.
cannot do it. I cannot do it.
Right.
So it's been like this performative, authentic, just clashing where
Mhm.
sometimes I don't even want to show up on social media because, because I can't do it. I can't do it the way that
Mhm.
feels real. And so I'm not going to do it at all. But anyways, imperfect action
Yes.
is what I've been working on. And even if I just had to take a picture and then say what I really meant because
Yeah.
that's the most authentic I could be. I have
Yes.
grown though to where like now I can get on my stories and actually say some things that I
I see that.
feel are
Yes.
authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that has really been a work in progress for me.
Yes.
Huge.
And I can relate to that too. I remember a few years ago, a coach that I had said, "You seem like you're performing." And I was like, I didn't see it that way. And then later on, I was like, oh, I was totally performing there. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Like, even when I don't do my hair, I'm like, should I have my hair down? It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, if we just show up as our real selves, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what the scary part of showing up as your real self is for me
Hmm.
was when I was like, I don't even know what my real self is. I
I feel like
talked
that's
about
when we
that.
know ourselves, though. I cut you off, but
Well, at least it's when we start trying to show it
mhm,
because we're like, what is my real self? But I said that whenever I was talking with Ryan that, my life had just become this set of behaviors that I just
mhm,
followed.
mhm.
And I was I was and still am on many topics afraid to say what I actually think.
Yeah.
Whether it's because I don't want somebody to know what I actually think because it's just vulnerable.
Mhm,
Like I think there are a lot of people that just don't deserve access to
mhm.
my what do they call it on TikTok? Your premium personality.
Oh, that's hilarious. I
a,
love
a
that.
lot of people just don't you don't deserve
Yeah.
access to my premium personality. But
Yeah.
then also like I'm scared to say something because I think so deeply about things that I know there's something I'm missing. And if I take a
Mm,
stance, there's going to be someone that comes and has another stance, and I'm going to find reason in that.
mhm.
And then I'm going to be in this at odds, and I don't want to do it. So I'd rather just be quiet.
Yeah.
It's
You
so
know,
deep.
it is. I feel like that is so deep. I have like 10,000 thoughts about that. I feel like too, though, we don't have to show everything. I think that's another misconception is people think that when you're in the online space, you have to show everybody everything, and we just don't. We get to decide too, whether it's premium personality or like, I just don't want that out there. So,
Right?
okay,
Yes.
here's my next question. I just cut you
Okay.
off again. I'm just really excited. I feel like we could talk all day. Um, where did I go? This is probably one of my last questions is what is your big why for why you do what you do in your business?
Oh, that is a great question. And I have asked myself that question over and over, and I have cultivated it into something that I feel comfortable sharing.
Mhm.
Um, I really feel like my why is about helping women find freedom from this
Mm.
internal war that they fight. It's going to make me tear up a little.
Mm.
But, when you don't like yourself, it's very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And it shows up in so many different ways. And I just get to meet women when they're telling me what they don't like about their body and how it looks. But what it's really about is how they don't like themselves.
Mhm.
And uh I'm getting more comfortable with the fact that I want to hold space for women to heal from that.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
the topic just happens to be, and it just happens to start with our health and fitness and our identity
Mm.
around that. But it impacts every area of your life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So it's not just
Thank
lifting
you.
weights
Since I
and
cried through it.
I tend to make people it sounds wrong. I tend to make people cry, but it's because 'cause we're getting to what
Ah,
matters, right? Like, it's what
right.
this is all about.
Yes.
So
for sure.
tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world and how people can, if they're feeling guided to come check out what you've got going on. What, give us the, what's up in
Give
Roxy's
us
world.
give us the what's up in my world. Okay, so right now I am preparing for a launch of my workshop. I do this quarterly, and it's a place where just for 6 weeks you get a group coaching experience. So it's a low barrier of entry so that you can see if this is even work that you're interested in. And then from there, clients can either enter into my membership where we do like monthly coaching calls and you
Mhm.
get access to everything that I produce, whether it's workouts or mindset mini series or a nutrition coaching. You get access to all of that. And the app platform and meal plans
Oh, that's
if
cool.
you want them for ideas. Not that we're going to be following them, but they're great for ideas.
Mhm.
Or I have some space for private clients, and
Mhm.
I like to keep that small because, that's weekly work. That's really doing a lot of individualized building.
Mhm.
And so that's what's happening in my world right now. And, it's really with women this conversation is freeing for a lot of women. I want you to think about your floor and I want you to think about your ceiling when it comes to your health and fitness behaviors. What what's you on your worst day? Like if I said, here's the plan we're going to try to follow, and this is you on your worst day, what's that standard? What's that non negotiable? You're trying to keep some integrity. And then what's your ceiling?
Mhm.
And that's your aspiration. You're hitting your goals at 100%. But like, we spend most of the day with our feet on the floor. And I want women to understand that the work we're going to be doing is about slowly raising the floor. It's not about
Mm.
making you reach higher to get
Yes.
to the ceiling. But it's like when people say be 1% better than you were, that means take your worst day and let's raise it up just a little bit because that's where you're
Mhm.
going to spend the majority of your time. And then when we hit
Yes.
the ceiling, that's great. That's
Right.
wonderful to live with your head in
Right.
the clouds. But most of the time, our feet are on the floor.
Mhm.
And when we approach change like that, slowly, change that builds momentum, when we
Yes.
understand that action doesn't just add, but it multiplies.
Mhm.
And it's one of my favorite things to explain because my program, I haven't said this, but it's actually called the Momentum Makeover. And I
Oh, I love
follow what I
that.
thank
You better
you and
trademark
what I've
that.
called
I'll
it
tell.
may be out there already, but let's hope not. But and the framework is really around this idea of a momentum method where we make the things that we want to do easier to do, and we make the things that we don't want to do harder to do. It's that simple. That's the
Hmm,
method. And really, it's about practicing small actions that multiply because they change the condition under which the next action takes place. That's the multiplying effect. It's
that's
going to
cool.
change your identity. It's going to change your environment. It's going to change your momentum. Like all of these things are going to change. And then you look up and you've got a new ceiling and a new
Hmm,
floor and you've got a new identity.
that's so cool. I love that.
Thanks.
As you were saying it, I can feel the, like, it's almost like a relief of like, oh, I can be, it's like you're held, the floor and the ceiling. Oh, that's so cool,
That's it.
Roxy.
Yes. And you're functioning in a range.
Yeah.
And that there's so much freedom, there's so much
Yeah.
grace in functioning in a range of principles instead of a strict
Right.
rule that you have to follow and you have to hit and you have to meet every day.
Right.
Because, like I said in the beginning of this, I don't wake up the same way every day. You don't wake up feeling the same way every day.
Mm,
It's hard for me to do normal things every day.
yeah.
Like if you tell me that I have to brush my teeth every day. Now, this is weird. And I know I do. I have to brush my teeth
Mhm.
every day. But I'm not going to do it at the same time every day. I'm not
Mm,
going to use the same toothbrush or
mhm.
toothpaste every day. I just
Mhm.
can't do it. I can't make
That's so
myself
funny.
do it.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's freedom from that just heaviness and rigidity.
Yeah, it brings the power back in you instead of the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
Like I know the principle is we need to have fresh breath. Okay. But how I get
Mhm.
there is how I get there. And how I get there on Monday might not look like how I get there
Yeah,
on Wednesday.
yeah. Oh, I
So
love
anyway,
that. It's so fun.
that's a silly one, but
No, but it's tangible. That's I like your like the images that you put in my head. That it like sticks. So yay! So where can
yeah,
people
well.
find you? Where can people follow you? I'll put it in the show notes
Oh,
too. But
sure. Yeah. So most of my stuff is on Facebook. I'm a millennial, an
me
elder.
too. Yeah,
And so I'm just Roxy Robinson on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I mean, I do try to cross post, but it's Roxy Robinson Fitness, or because I just can't give up this, what's it called? Handle.
yeah.
It's my friends call me extra. And
Oh,
that's for another day, another podcast. But
I
my
love
friends
that.
call me extra.
I don't think I follow that one. I'm
Yes.
gonna have to do that. That's great. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah. I am. It would confuse you to find me on TikTok. It's just
Okay.
confusing. But I'm also
Just like
my friends call me extra on TikTok,
okay,
and we're
cool.
still finding our TikTok identity. You know, what are we doing over
Yeah.
there? I
I
don't know.
manage so many TikTok accounts for clients, and I still have such a hard time posting there myself. Like, it's just the millennial in me, and like
Yep,
it's a whole thing. I know I should
I've got
be,
some weird
right?
stuff. It started with like dog, then it
Yeah.
went to Abraham, then it
Yeah.
went to fitness, then it went
That's
to
okay.
just like, then it went to the pot.
But you know what? And we'll kind of close out on this is I think of identity like a crystal. So all of these different facets are a part of the crystal, right? So fitness, Abraham, we're talking about Esther Hicks who channels Abraham.
Mhm.
The fitness part, your travel, all of that is you as you. And so it's just different parts, facets. And I think a lot of business owners or content creators, we get in our heads about, well, I can't do that. It's going to confuse people versus when people see Roxy, the fitness person that travels, that loses their luggage or not loses, somebody else lost it, or,
Yes.
that you also like
Oof.
dogs. It makes you real and authentic. And I think that's the most magnetic branding possible right now in a world of AI and fakeness. So yeah. I'm so
Yes.
glad you joined me today. I feel like we'll have to do another one because I just have a feeling you and I could talk and just different topics would come up and it would be so fun. And maybe we'll try to make that happen. But I'm so glad you joined us today. And everybody go follow
Thank you.
Roxy. She's really fun she's one of my favorite content people to watch. So yeah.
Yay.
All right. Bye, guys.